attendees from the CSRI conference. I'm Jerry Burney, and I'm the president of the Drake Group. I want to give you a little bit of background about our organization. The Drake Group is one of the oldest sustained college sports reform groups in America. It was founded in 1999, and its vision is to create an atmosphere on college campuses that encourages personal and intellectual growth for all students, including athletes, and demands excellence and professional integrity from the faculty charged with teaching. We strongly believe in the transformational qualities of a college education, for we know a real education can be a path out of poverty. I'm reminded that my father had a second-grade education in Poland. He left Poland 3 months before the Nazis invaded, came to America and worked very, very hard with one goal in mind: to give his 3 children an opportunity to do better. And he was successful with that. The Drake Group has had a very productive year, highlighted by, first, the incorporation of the Drake Group as an advocacy group, a 501(c) in the state of Connecticut. I want to thank the University of New Haven for graciously welcoming the Drake Group as a place to call its home. Membership has more than doubled, and in looking back as my first year as president, I would say that it's very easy to be a critic of college athletics. In fact, it's almost too easy. But it is much harder to affect meaningful change. The rapid changes in college sports today and the events on the national scene has placed the Drake Group at the forefront of events like never before. Another main highlight of the Drake Group was an audience with the Secretary of Education to discuss academic integrity concerns about college sports. This occurred last December. We also talked about the need for a presidential commission, and a congressional bill has been dropped, meaning it's been introduced.
We never knew what that meant. We about to just drop it on the floor.
Right. It's called dropping a bill. It's been introduced in Congress currently. Another highlight is Dr. Sack and I attended again the national conference of the Coalition on Intercollegiate Athletics and had very meaningful discussions with faculty senates interested in big-time college sports from all over the country. And just a few weeks ago, I had a personal audience with the NCAA's Executive Vice President for Regulatory Affairs, Oliver Luck, to discuss college sports reform and what the NCAA needs to do in this very important time. Thanks to our Drake Group advocacy group, which meets once a week and has been meeting for the last 2 years. Numerous important statements advocating the Drake Group positions on various college sports discussions have been developed. You can find them on our website and the internet. I want to personally thank the board and our executive committee of the Drake Group for all they have done to help me in this first year. They include Dr. Alan Sack, who is our past president, David Ridpath, often calling in from Germany, where he is on sabbatical, Mary Willingham, our treasurer, Michael Malik from Boston College, our secretary, Brian Porto, Fritz Polite, Donna Lopiano, our student member, Marty Davidson from the University of North Carolina, and Jay Smith. And we truly appreciate all of your help. And now, the highlights of this morning's event.
I saw him yesterday. Might have laughed.
The highlight of this morning's event, the Robert Maynard Hutchins Award, is given annually to faculty or staff members who take a courageous stand to defend academic integrity at their institutions, often risking job security in doing so. Robert Maynard Hutchins was the president of the University of Chicago from 1929 to 1951, where he defended the liberal arts and opposed the rampant commercialization of college football, which in his view undermined the core values of higher learning. I'm often reminded of one of his famous quotes: "When I think about exercising, I lie down and it goes away." The Drake Group members are truly inspired by Hutchins' commitment to academic freedom and know that Hutchins would have shared our concern that critics of commercial college sports have sometimes been targets of direct or indirect pressure for merely upholding academic principle. Our 2015 winner of the Robert M. Hutchins Award is Murray Spurberg, who taught at Indiana University in Bloomington from 1971 through 2004, and is a professor emeritus of English and American Studies of the school. He is currently a visiting professor at the Cultural Studies of Sport in Education program at the University of California, Berkeley. At Indiana, he published 7 books. His previous books on college sports include College Sports Incorporated, The Athletic Department versus the University, Beer and Circus, How Big-Time College Sports is Crippling Undergraduate Education, and Shake Down the Thunder, The Creation of Notre Dame Football, and Onward to Victory, The Crisis That Shaped College Sports. As a young college sports athletic department administrator, I remember reading College Sports Incorporated in the early 90s. And I have to say, when I entered college sports, I was a true believer. I thought this was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to change people's lives, that where else could you have 50, 60, 70,000 people fill up a stadium? And then I read College Sports Incorporated. And it truly opened my eyes. And it was from that point on that I started questioning this enterprise that has become an entertainment circus. Murray Sperber was the very first president of the Drake Group. In conjunction with his work on college sports, he has appeared on many television and radio programs, including ABC's Nightline, Good Morning America, CBS TV's 60 Minutes, NPR's Morning Edition, All Things Considered, Talk of the Nation, and PBS's Lair News Hour. He's also a frequent contributor to op-ed pieces that you'll see in the Chronicle of Higher Education and other periodicals, including the New York Times. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our 2015 Hutchins Award winner, Dr. Murray Sperber.
Yay!
Wow, a little overwhelmed. Thank you, Gerald, for that nice introduction. And as Gerald mentioned, I was the very first president of the Drake Group, although it's Alan and I were reminiscing last night. It was called NAFCAR, the National Association for Collegiate Athletic Reform. We thought it would be a much catchier title. It would certainly work better in Columbia, South Carolina than the Drake Group. And but John Erickson, who was really the founder of the Drake Group and was at Drake University and such, hated it with passion, and just quietly waited a number of years and it disappeared. But I was the first president, and I have the distinction of that, plus being excuse me, the very worst president of the Drake Group, NAFCAR, whatever you want to call it. As I told the members at the time of the election, I'm not an administrator. I've spent my career opposing administrators and would probably do a lousy job. And thanks to people like Professor Dowling at Rutgers, who made my life miserable, I did a very lousy job. And I will say this, in looking at the past speeches for this award, I noticed that Dowling must go on for 3 hours or so. I'll do the 12 minutes that was allotted to me. So, but I went back after that to what I do well at, which is reading and writing, and especially the debunking of various college sports myths. By chance, one day in a sub-basement of the University of Notre Dame Library, I found the daily papers of Newt Rockne, the great coach, who they had been placed there upon his death. He had a very untimely death in a plane accident at the age of 41. And out of that came my book, Shake Down the Thunder. And I mainly